This is Take Flights with Mark Whittle.
Welcome to Take Flight. I'm Mark Whittle, former city worker turned performance coach. And this is your place for inspiration and education on ways to optimize your performance and find your purpose.
I've always wanted to do music. Like, this was my why in life.
You were, at 13, discovered by Elton John.
Yes.
Tallia Storm is on the brink of worldwide fame.
Are you saying that you had chances to get to that sort of level and you didn't get it, or?
I've had so many, almost moments. A lot of people would think you get discovered by Elton John and the next thing you know, that's you set. Well, no, I got a 5-album world deal with Capitol Records. Drake's lawyer signed me. We met Drake, got all these photos of Drake. It was just all this, whirlwind bubble. The moment the deal was signed, just went radio silent. We're like, what's going on? My lawyer phoned us up and he was like, really sorry, don't know how to break this to you, but all of these moments of crying in my bedroom, just feeling like an absolute lemon because everyone was laughing at me at school for having a dream, has really built me into who I am.
Honestly, that sound like a fair trade to me. Look.
Congrats on your single. What allowed you to manifest the feature with this mysterious rapper that we're going to find out in the new year?
I feel like we glamorize, the becoming the star, but actually don't appreciate the hours it takes to get there.
Let me do it one more time.
He was like, you've just got to keep swinging the bat. He said, you've just got to keep swinging the bat and hope one of them lands. Just got to do it and then look back and be like, look how far we've come.
Cabin crew, passengers, prepare for takeoff.
Talia, welcome to the Take Flight podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats on your single.
Thank you.
By the way, because that's pretty fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, brand new. I'm really excited about it. I was just on Spotify there. It's on 70,000 streams already.
Nice. In a week or?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Which is really good for me. I got on New Music Friday, got played on BBC Radio 1 Extra. So these are all little, I feel milestones that I'm really, really proud of.
Oh yeah, you should be. It's incredible. And the single's great. It's hard to get out of your head.
It's really, you know what? It's funny you say that because it's slightly addictive.
Yeah.
Good. It's working.
Yeah. I'm so fascinated. I'm a huge music fan. And I know the kind of style of music that you create. And probably then what you're interested in, people you admire and stuff. So really excited to speak about that. Mm-hmm. But also how you've got yourself to this position. Mm-hmm. I'm really fascinated in some of the decisions that you've made.
Yeah.
So it'd be really great to hear about that.
Yeah.
To start with, I guess it would be cool to know, when you're releasing a single, what is the expectation that you put on yourself?
Well, this is a funny one because I think the expectation is the thief of joy. I feel like the moment you don't expect and you just let it do its thing, that's when all the real blessings come. I think when I was younger and, I released, an album, Teenage Tears, when I was 19, just before I'd done Celebs Go Dating. And I was just so excited. But the reality is, unless you've got a giant label and 200 grand in a marketing campaign, then realistically, your numbers aren't going to be that wild, no matter how many Instagram Reels and TikToks you're posting. So I think for me, this year is all about just enjoying the journey and being so grateful that I'm even able to release songs and be able to get them out to the world, I think is the real win for me. And now everything after it is just such a buzz because I'm not expecting it. There's no pressure on it, I'm an independent artist. It's taken me a while to be able to I see myself as a business now. As a businesswoman, I am now financially stable enough to be able to release songs and put them out into the world, because it costs a lot to get a song mixed and mastered by the top people, especially when you're doing it on your own. Yeah, I worked really, really hard this year to get to this position. I feel like now I can really begin the journey of consistency, constantly releasing, and just keep the train moving.
I absolutely love that. So the quote the expectation, I think it's also comparison and judgment are the thieves of joy.
Yeah.
Where did you hear that?
I think when I was growing up, I wanted to be Beyonce. I wanted to be J-Lo. I wanted to be Hannah Montana. If we're being really transparent here, you know, I wanted to be performing on stages with big outfits and, you know, bright lights. And I think the reality is, to get to that level, it is a big, long ladder. And I think if you are comparing each step to somebody who's got a team of 40 people, and I think everything is relative. And it was actually somebody, like a really famous guy in the industry, like behind the scenes, that, like, I think about 5 years ago, looked me in the eye. I was like, Talia, everything is relative. You understand that pop star that's number one in the charts had a £1 million ad campaign to get her there. You've got zero. You've got £0, and you've got 1 million streams on, at the time, a song called Good Lie. So it's like, everything is relative. Like, that was a win for me. And a lot of these big stars, you know, they're pumping in 1 million, they're getting a number one, but they're not even getting that 1 million back because they needed 10 times the amount of sales to get it, you know? So everything is relative. And it's like, I'm a really big believer in everybody does get their moment. Like, everybody can get that moment. You just have to keep the faith and keep going. And I think you only lose when you quit. So it's like, it doesn't matter what age you get there at, you know? And I think if you're comparing yourself to, you know, Olivia Rodrigo, who's made it at 18, or, you know, Lizzo at 30, like, are they any less than each other? No, they're both superstars in their own right, you know? You don't know all the years Olivia had to do to get there, and you don't know all the years Lizzo had to do to get there. It's just a different scale of it. So I think that is such an important, maybe just life lesson for me, that I'm really almost grateful that I kind of understand now and I get it, because that is what's just going to drag you down. And then before you know it, you're doubting yourself because you're comparing yourself to Dua Lipa and her team of 120 people. You can't, you know? You'll get there one day, but you can't compare yourself to that now.
Wow. That's like such sage advice.
Yeah.
Really, that's amazing. Like, it's good. If I'd bore you with what goes on in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm so passionate about what I'm creating,
Yeah.
and I love it, and it's incredible, and I do it by myself.
Yeah.
I've got an amazing two editors who help me like make the stuff that goes on socials and stuff, but it's very easy for me to compare myself to like a Stephen Bartlett who has a team of 30 and look at the sort of people he's getting on and the numbers he's getting and stuff. So even just for me to listen to that, it's incredible. And you're 24?
24, just turned 24.
24. But that's like, just to acknowledge, that's incredible wisdom for a 24-year-old.
A lot of people, especially because I come from Scotland, it's a very kind of cutthroat, they say it like it is. And I got bullied really badly in school. And I think something that I kind of learned is, you don't have to bring someone else down just because you are jealous by it, or you feel like you're not doing enough, or maybe you feel like that should be you. Like, you can let them win, but you can also win yourself. And I feel like in school, I was just such like a sore thumb that just stuck out, because like I was just very determined and very like, I had my eye on the prize from a very young age, and I knew what I wanted. So I think all of these like moments of like, you know, crying in my bedroom, just feeling like an absolute lemon because everyone was laughing at me at school for having a dream, has really built me into who I am. But I think the main thing is, it's like every day is a mind game with yourself, and it's a battle with yourself. And I think the only people that actually bring us down is ourselves. So it's like, it's very easy to like wake up and be like, oh God, you know, I'm not Stephen, I'm not the Diary of the Sea, or whatever your industry is, comparing yourself to that thing. But it's like, the only person that's just put that expectation and that pressure is yourself. It's like, imagine if you just took a step back and actually just did the work, kept consistent, did the time, and stopped letting your own voice drag you down. Because it's often not what other people say, because we're the one that's putting the feeling into what they say. You know, you could say I'm ugly right now. If I don't care, then it doesn't mean anything to me. But if my ex says it to my face, then that would have a lot more emotion, and then suddenly I feel like a pile of rubbish. So it's like, we put the emotion around the words, and then we drag ourselves down. So it's about detaching from that. And that's something that I feel like I've really mastered recently. Like, I just don't care. I just don't care.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
Tell me more. How do you master detaching from your emotions?
I think you have to really choose you. And that sounds so ridiculous, but like, it really is you against you. And I think I posted a TikTok, and it was like, I always walk through Tesco's and I always like, I'm in an outfit and I just don't care. And I always do these things in public, but I'm like, these people around me genuinely don't care about me. And all the comments are just so amazed. Like, we're talking like 3 million, 4 million views of me just walking in front of people, right? And they're like, God, how is she not embarrassed? Cringe, you know? Like 1,000 hate comments and then like 4 million views. So I'm like, let's balance the odds out here, you know? And I'm always like, these people don't actually care, you know that, right? Like, that's your own ego that thinks these people are thinking of me. They're in their own head. You know that 80% of our thoughts are about ourselves. Like, that's a fact, right? It's about like, oh, I wonder what he's thinking of me. I wonder if he thinks I'm cool. I wonder if she thinks that I come, la 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 la. Selfish, us. Where it's actually like, that person right there that you're walking past, he's thinking about his day and what he's having for dinner. He's actually not thinking about me. So it's like, you actually just need to appreciate the fact that nobody cares. And like, embarrassing to who? Like, he doesn't actually care about me, you know? So why are you embarrassed? It's your own ego that's afraid, you know? But if you don't care, then there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You can do what you want.
And being embarrassed of what? Like being yourself?
Like,
Is that embarrassing?
Like, just do. I always say that. I'm like, you know what, just do it. I'd rather do something and, you know, look back and go, maybe I could have done better. Maybe I could have did it. But I did it, you know, rather than just having these ideas in your head and then nothing gets done. You know, I see it a lot with my friends. I've got loads of creative friends and they've got all these ideas and all these things. But I'm like, stop waiting until you're ready, because you're never going to be ready. You just have to start. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, even if it's, you know, for me, it's like, I don't have a big 20 dancers and big performance thing, but when I do, I'm like starting to post all these clips, and for me, I never used to post them because I'm like, oh, but you know, I'm not Mabel, I don't have 20 dancers and I don't have a team of, you know, 4 choreographers making the moves up, but I'm gonna start. So I'm starting to post. Like, I performed last night, had my 2 dancers, it was great, and I started posting those clips because that's relative to me right now. I have 2 dancers right now. I'm not Mabel, I don't have 20, but I'm proud of my 2, you know? So you've just really got to be in the right now. And that's where it's at.
Yeah, incredible. I loved what you said a moment ago as well. You said that was a win for me.
Yeah.
We can all own the things that are wins for us, but we won't enjoy them if we're still comparing ourselves.
Yeah, like, I was buzzing last night performing. Performed Boyfriend, had my 2 dancers, we did the little choreo for Boyfriend that they made for me. Phenomenal. You know, I'm sure Dua Lipa wouldn't be buzzing after 2 dancers now because she's got 50 at the Grammys. Relative to her.
Yeah, but at some point she had to.
Okay, I actually remember when she did a tour and she brought this big giant Dua Lipa neon sign and she like sat it. I don't even know if you remember early Dua Lipa. I was a Dua Lipa fan. And I remember thinking, oh, I love that neon sign. She's so cool. And she just brought this giant sign. But that sign was probably 10 grand at the time. I remember wanting one, but no, I never got one. We were out of budget. But like, how great. You know, she did her time. And she did all these little rooms with her giant Dua Lipa neon carry-on sign. Phenomenal.
Yeah. There's been some 2 like big it's like the same breakthrough, but from 2 conversations over the summer for me. One was the founder of Reebok, Joe Foster. He's incredible. He's like in his 80s. And the other one was Barry Hearn, who's in his 70s, and he founded Matchroom Sport, which is like the biggest promotion in most sports, or a lot of like the smaller sports.
Like the boxing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, among loads of others as well. Yeah. And both of them, given that one's in 70s, one's in their 80s, said that the come up was way more enjoyable than actually what they perceived as the destination they were heading to.
That's true. I was in the studio like 3 weeks ago. I remember one of the writers looking at me and he was like, you know, you are going to get your hit, Talia. You are going to get your #1. And he went, I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Because I've like fantasized and dreamed of it for so many years. And I know I will get there. I do wonder sometimes if I'm going to look back on this right now, me being 24 and like, you know, performing, getting the tube to my performance and getting my dancers and learning over FaceTime and all these things that make the thrill of it so exciting. The fact that like, I kind of am doing this, like you said, it's that one-man band element. But yet we're still achieving these great things, you know, and you, when you do get there and you are Dua Lipa, you've suddenly got 150 people that she's essentially employing, and that's a whole different level of pressure. So you're right. I think it is just trying to live more in the present. It's cliche.
There's an element of like autonomy now as well with like what we're trying to do and our journey is like, you know, you get in the tube to performances. I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But there is like an element of autonomy and freedom of just like, and as you said, if there's 150 in your team, brings different responsibilities, pressures, people on your payroll, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it is all relative, and I enjoy it. There's such a thrill of it. And to be fair, it's funny because I would not be here without that tube. I literally live on that tube. Like my brothers have some very mean things they call about me on this tube because I'm just constantly all over London doing a million things. But like if I get the tube, I'm like, at the end of it, I'm always like making my friends film me because like those are the videos people want to see. Like me glam, like the reality of it. I'm not in a piano. I don't have a chauffeur, So like, there's no excuse. Get the show on the road.
Can we speak about your relative success then?
Yeah.
Because I read something, I can't see where the quote is, but it was something like in 2018 you were like the 5th most Googled person alongside Cardi B.
Is that not insane? Yeah, musician. 5th most Googled musician in the world by Google Analytics. Like,
So
how many people are Googling me? But you know what the problem is? I actually think people were Googling who is Tallia Storm, but it didn't matter because it was the Tallia Storm.
And was that because your album was out? Or?
So that was the year of Celebs Go Dating, and that was the most successful season Celebs Go Dating had ever done. I was on Gemma Collins, was on it, Ollie Locke, Sam Thompson, London Hughes, Jade Jones. Like, it was a really, really good cast. And Tallia Storm. And then I did like a few more shows that year. I released my album. I did like Cannes Film Festival. I released a song with Dirtbag LB, like as a collab. He's from D Block Europe. I'm actually going to see them tomorrow at the O2. Yeah. Iconic. I'm such a DVE fan, it's a joke. So yeah, like stuff like that. Like even back then, independent artist, and the fact that LB wanted to do a song with me and like did a feature for me is ridiculous. I remember I did the music video and I literally, I mean, in hindsight I look back on this and I don't regret it because it's exactly what I had at the time. But my friend was studying like film and my other friend was studying photography, and I was like, we're gonna make a music video for the song called Ring Ring Ring. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go down to those Leek Street tunnels, and there's no plan. There's absolutely no plan other than the fact I've like bribed my friends into making this video for me. I'm like calling LB and I'm like, no, you need to come, we're filming a music video. So LB comes down, and you know that way I was totally winging it and I didn't actually expect LB to turn up to the music video, and he turns up, i.e. this is LB, the GOAT, half of DBE, and there he is, and there's my friend with his like Canon SLR, and there's my other friend who's actually an incredible photographer, and we're like filming this music video with this like Beats pill playing the song. There's no concept here other than the fact that we're totally winging it. Like, that's it, we filmed it, and then we kind of leave and we're all just laughing our eyes out. And we've also been in this like tunnel, which is like painters are in there like with masks on, and we're fully there just breathing in all these fumes all day, so we're like totally high by the end of the day, and we're like miles off it, and we're just like totally pissing ourselves to the fact that we've just done this music video with there's no plan. So then I go home and I literally edit the whole thing on Final Cut Pro, like myself, I'm there, and then I got Grime Daily, so GRM, to premiere it, and it got like 200,000 views in a day. And let me just tell you, this was probably the most hated music video on GRM Daily. So I feel like all these things added to Tallia Storm being the 5th most Googled musician. But to be fair, you've got to hand it to me. I was 19. I'd finessed, a collab with D Block, LB. He came to the music video. This was edited on my laptop by me on Final Cut Pro. I got Grime Daily to premiere it. Like, this is total just like winging it, like wing it, do like. And also, isn't it great that I can look back on that and laugh? This is what I mean by do, because at the time, had I actually sat there and been like, oh, I actually can't afford Casey Locke to make my music video, who does all the big ones, and I can't no, you've just got to start, you just got to do it, and then look back and be like, look how far we've come. So young Talia was hustling back then, and she's still hustling now.
I love it. Can you talk a little bit about what did you get that was good from you? You called it winging it, right? I call these things like the leap of faith or taking flight. Like, you call it winging it. What did you get that was good from winging it and doing the video anyway? And what do you think? I don't want to say bad, but what was the other side of that? So I have this really toxic trait that if something scares me, I know I meant to do it. So if I am scared, if I don't want to send an email, if I don't want to DM someone or just pitch myself for a job, I know that that's exactly what I'm meant to be doing. And it's kind of toxic because sometimes it could be your instincts telling you that's a bad vibe, but you're going to do it anyway because the fear is the thrill. So I'm chasing the thrill. But it's all those
like fear, risk, thrills that have generally got me where I am.
Can I just ask something quickly, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a quote that says, "What you resist persists."
Yeah.
So how could you define whether it's your instinct telling you not to do it, or whether it's your ego protecting you from doing something?
Well, I actually think that it's always your ego. Your ego is always there. And I feel
Okay.
like our life in general is a battle of our ego, i.e. like somebody dumping you. You know, did he dump you because he thought you were about to dump him, or did he dump you because he actually didn't want to be with you? You know, like use that as a metaphor for life. Like, what are you running from, or is it running from you? And most of the time you're running from it. It's not running from you, you know? Most of the time guys run away from girls because they're scared the girls are going to do it. They actually probably care more than the girl. But ego, running, scared, fear. So, you know, we always like, I feel like we're like work, life, but actually this is our life, you know, like this work is what's making our future. This is making us who we are. Like those 8 hours a day, no matter what job you're in, they're shaping who you are as a person. So why do we just like, oh well, it's the 9 to 5? Well, that 9 to 5 is actually going to make you who you are, and all those experiences are shaping your personality, whether it's your work life or not. So I'm like, you know, me, I'm always like jump in the deep end, because there's only so long. I like live my life on the edge, right? There's only so many years you're going to be able to get away with constantly jumping off these cliffs, because I'm constantly jumping off these cliffs. Like, I'm taking risks. Like, so they do backfire 100%, but like, I also wouldn't be where I am, you know? And it's just, it could be just like confidently going up to people and like speaking to them and like totally like pitching myself and like getting into these rooms and just winging it. Like I spoke about this the other day on a podcast. I won't tell the story again, but like when I was in LA, I went up to Wiz Khalifa and had a chat with him.
No way.
Yeah. And
Is that recent?
Yeah. And
I love Wiz Khalifa.
and basically, cut long story short, he was very like, what are you, like, who are you speaking to me? Like,
Yeah.
totally. But I followed through. I had this thing, follow through. And I gave him a sticker. He was like, I can't take that. And it was that moment where you have, you know, that way you're at like a crossroad. And I was at this moment, okay, I could totally just turn around right now and pretend this conversation never happened and just drown in my embarrassment, or I could fully follow through. So I fully followed through. Like, I might have been dying inside, but like, you couldn't crack me. I like stared him down. I'm like, what do you mean you can't take my sticker? And he's like, it has your name on it. And I was like, exactly. He was like, well, who are you? And I was like, I'm Tallia Storm. Like, fully holding a straight face, even though I am dying inside, okay? Because I know how these people work, okay? If you're embarrassed, they're embarrassed. If you're confident, then they're slightly drawn to this. Boom, bingo. And he goes, so who is Tallia Storm? And I'm like, I'm a singer from Scotland. Like, I am in LA. I'm not even smiling. Like, I'm bubbly right now, but I'm fully like, I'm in Tallia Storm mode. I don't really know what's going on right now, but I kind of love it. And I was like, I wanted to celebrate, but I'm like, no, follow through. See what I mean about following through? This could have gone both ways.
Cool.
So then he goes, give me the sticker. And I go, no, I can't give you the sticker. And then he's like, give me the sticker. And I'm like, no, you can't have my sticker now because you didn't want my sticker. So I'm afraid you just can't have the sticker. And then now I'm in. Like, I'm actually in. And he's like, give me the sticker. And he pulls the sticker out of my hand and he puts it in his pocket and he went, I meet a lot of people and I am going to remember this conversation.
Oh, wow.
And then I DM'd him on Instagram, right? And I was like, you know, thanks so much for taking the sticker. I really appreciate it. Like, you're amazing. And he replied going, you're a superstar. And he called me a superstar. Wiz Khalifa called me a superstar on DM. Like, I like screenshotted it and made it my background. I'm like, oh, manifestation, let's go. But my point is, right, that's so ridiculous. Okay, who's going up to Wiz Khalifa and giving Wiz Khalifa a sticker? Like, who does that? Are you insane? So this is what I mean about being slightly delusional, being slightly fearless, but just going for it. Embarrassing to who? Do you know, like, embarrassing to who? Like, do you think Wiz Khalifa's going to remember in like 3 days' time, even if it went totally wrong, even if he got security guards to drag me out, however way your head might have thought it would have gone, right? It went well. He called me a superstar. And he, you know, we're DMing, like, you know, I'm a little girl from Scotland. You've just got to risk it all. Go for it while you're young. So this is my plan, basically until 30. But I mean, I'll probably go on longer, but I'm telling myself that's my PR. I'm just going to do it till I'm 30. I'm probably never going to stop. Oh yeah, there we go.
That is insane. I just have to say, like, I know why he said that. I can feel an energy from you. It's amazing. And even like that storytelling was amazing. I could literally visualize what happened in the scene. Like, that's incredible. I love the story. I love the message behind it. Because it's actually not even about the sticker.
No.
It's not about the sticker.
So it's got nothing to do with the sticker. Nothing to do with the sticker.
It was the energy exchange.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, not many people are prepared to admit that, but you were dying inside.
Yeah.
But you keep the
Yeah.
Tallia Storm, or
Yeah.
that front on of confidence. Amazing.
And you've genuinely got to fake it till you make it. And I think a lot of people say this, but they don't actually understand what that means. Fake it till you make it isn't about faking it to other people, faking it to a room. It's about faking it to yourself. Because the only person in that moment that would have let me down is myself, because I would have cracked. I would have pussied out, turned around and walked away. I had to fake it to myself that actually I was okay and I could handle this.
Yeah.
I'm no less than he is in this moment. Of course I'm less than he is. I'm a little girl from Scotland, like winging it in LA. But in that moment, I am no less than you. You're a person, I'm a person, we're going to have this conversation. Let's have it. Straight face. Hold it together. Don't crack. So that I'm really good at that. Like, I am so good at that. And I think this is probably why I scare a lot of boys away. Because I'm very good at putting on a front. Like, I am so overly emotional, I will cry for days. But I'll never let the other person know that. Great for business, great for work, not great for, like, emotional availability.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah. We can talk about that for sure. But, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on that, because the whole, like, faking it till you make it thing, people attach themselves to this idea of imposter syndrome, or, you know, self-doubt and all these things that happen. But when you're pushing yourself in an uncomfortable position, of course you're going to feel doubt. Of course you're going to feel fear. Of course you're going to feel this, what this term is, imposter syndrome, because you're making it up because you haven't done it before.
Yeah.
So it's going to feel unnatural. But that's when you can recognise it for what it is, which is actually just a new situation, a new environment that you haven't been to before. Your brain is like firing all the warning signals, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm speaking to Wiz Khalifa, or what the fuck? Like, I've never done this before. Warning, warning, be careful. Like, we don't know what's going to happen here. Like, of course. But then when you can label it as it's just that.
Yeah. I think it's being okay with being uncomfortable. Because when you get comfortable, you're never going to get better. You're never going to reach the goals. You're never going to become Elon Musk. You're never going to become Beyonce. You know, these people had to do very uncomfortable things, uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable work, you know, like the hours. Like, I feel like we glamorize, you know, the becoming the star, but actually don't appreciate the hours it takes to get there. And when I say star, it could be star in the finance world, it could be star, you know, lawyer, you know, bringing home these multi-million-pound deals. Like, that wasn't a comfortable journey to get there. So I think it's just about just being okay with the fact that it's going to be a long road, but you're going to get there.
Also, I'm interested though, because walking up to Wiz Khalifa, who is like, if people don't know who Wiz Khalifa is, he's like massive in hip hop and like global.
He's definitely like the GOAT for me in terms of like artists, like a real art, like he was my childhood, like genuinely.
Rolling Papers.
Yeah,
So good.
Unmatched. Like, Wiz, you are the GOAT.
Yeah, so that was incredible. But like, I imagine, because for some people that's a big leap, right? So you got to find the balance between what is comfortable and what is too stretched that it makes you incredibly stressed and anxious. Because at 13...
But the stressed and the anxious is yourself. You've put that on yourself. What was there to be stressed about? My advice is, before even coming to the comfortable, uncomfortable, leap of faith, not leap of faith, you need to be able to get your mind right with the stress and the anxiety. So it's about coming to one with you, being like, I actually don't care about the outside opinion. I don't care if he judges me. I don't care if she judges me, because the only person I need to judge is myself. And if I'm okay with the way I judge myself and I perceive myself, then we go. So when I wake up every day, I get annoyed at myself if I'm not doing enough, right? But there's no such thing as I should have done this. I should have gone up to Justin Bieber, like whatever your thing is, okay? Should doesn't exist. So stop shoulding right now, in the moment. Okay, great. What's the next move? Like, where are we right now? You know, stop looking back on the things you did wrong and get your head right for when the next one comes. I'm not going to be stressed. I'm not going to be anxious. I'm not going to be having all these little red flags popping up telling me what not to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's about the mind game with yourself before you jump in, because then it's just, I'm on autopilot right now. Like, I'm not thinking, I'm just doing. You know, I call it, I actually say that a lot. My life is just one big autopilot, fully.
I hear that. I guess where I'm coming from is that for people who are listening to this and thinking, I could never, ever go up to Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, okay.
There's a gap between, or there's a journey where
Yes.
you were at 13 discovered by Elton John.
Yes.
Pretty big fucking deal.
Yes.
You know, and there's interactions that have happened between 13 and when you spoke to Wiz, which
Correct.
probably made that feel still scary,
Yeah.
but not quite as scary as it might be
Correct.
perceived by
Yes.
other people. So there's
I'm with you.
And like even on the business journey, there's just this sort of gradual growth
Yes.
where you go, that looks insane, unachievable and unattainable, but like this bit I can stretch myself to in the next month. And then month 2, 3, 4, and then that
Yeah.
big stretch is achieved in a year. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. But also what I'm getting from you is you sound like you're incredibly clear on the goal anyway. So it makes it easier because
Yeah.
you're like, well, that's going to help me get to my goal.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about when that goal started to form for you and like the journey of figuring out you loved singing and all of that?
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do music. Like, this was my why in life, like entertaining, singing, making noise, and just this fire inside me that's never gone away ever since I was a little girl. Whether it was, you know, growing up, my dad plays jazz piano, so, you know, I was Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah Washington. I studied jazz at school. Like, I was like a proper jazz obsessed, you know, Miles Davis to Erykah Badu and Jill Scott, like this real soul inside me. And this is where I feel like my R&B love came out, and this is where I feel like I found my sound. So, you know, I am very nostalgic. Like, I see myself as like a Destiny's Child, early Beyonce on stage, giving it, you know, energy, but with this R&B vibe, like early Chris Brown, Yo Excuse Me Miss, like my favourite song in the whole world. I am way too young for all of it. But I love it. Like, I swear, the 2000s is like, I just want to be there. I feel like now that's where I am in my songwriting, my music, all the music that's coming next, just this proper like love for R&B. And I think nowadays, for people that aren't aware of that, like your Bryson Tiller, Summer Walker, Brent Faiyaz, Giveon, like that world for me is just so insane. So it's like, in my head, I'm like, that's where I want to be. I want to be on stage performing at Rolling Loud, you know, with Bryson Tiller. That's the goal. It's like, okay, I'm from Scotland, from this tiny little village. I've had all these chances, but I'm not there. So I'm like, what do I have to do? So it is a ladder, you know, and I feel like we have glamorized the rise to the top because of these shows like Love Island. You go on the show and then suddenly you're got 4 million followers and you're just as big as Bryson Tiller. Well, that's not the route for music, you know. Maybe for some people, but that's not our path. So we have to do it slightly differently. So I think for me, I take every opportunity I have and I run with it, i.e. TikTok. I'm posting every single day, you know. I'm posting 4 a day. One of them might be music, but 3 other ones are just showing my personality, showing that I entertain, and giving people something to enjoy. Because if you make it too much about you, then why does that person want to follow? They want to follow for themselves. So what can you give them? I can make them smile. I can make them laugh. So I talk about boys on there all the time because that's who I am as an artist. I'm always singing about boys. I'm always writing about boys. So I will entertain them about boys so that they know what's coming music-wise, you know, and then I can get a post with 4 million views, me making a little dig at my ex, and then I post a music one, and next you know, those 4 million people are looking at the music one. So it's like, if I know that it's difficult and I don't have £2 million to spend on promoting a song, then let's do what we know works, making these TikToks, walking through Tesco's in a nice outfit and drive them in a different way. I can't even remember what your question was, but
It was about the goal.
that is the goal. That is the goal. And I literally just, I'm a yes man. Like, if the opportunity is there, it's come to me for a reason and I'll do it. So whether it's YouTube Shorts, Reels, TikTok, whether it's performing at a small event, you know, like I performed last week in Newcastle, like wherever I can sing and show my voice, done.
You said that you've had chances and you've not got, like, you know, you said the goal was to be there with Bryson Tiller.
Yeah.
I love Bryson Tiller. Like, are you saying that you had chances to get to that sort of level and you didn't get it, or? Yeah,
so I've started very young and I've had so many like almost moments where, you know, a lot of people would think you get discovered by Elton John and the next thing you know that's you set. Well, no, I was still in school. I got a 5-album world deal with Capitol Records when I turned 15. Drake's lawyer signed me. Like, we met Drake backstage in Scotland. My lawyer set it all up. Like, we gave Drake my CD. I've got all these photos of Drake. Like, it was just all this like whirlwind bubble because of Elton John. I did a TED talk that went viral. Nile Rodgers heard about me. Then Eva Longoria heard about me. I was performing at her balls, and all whilst I'm signing this 5-album world deal. It was Ron Fair that was my A&R. He flew to London, went on BBC Radio 1 being like, Talia is a one in a zillion pop star. I discovered Christina Aguilera. She is it. So it takes us 1 year to sign the deal. Eventually we signed the deal, and then it just suddenly goes really quiet. And we were flying back and forth to LA. Like, they were flying us out to do all these meetings beforehand. And then as the moment the deal was signed, it just went like radio silent. We're like, what's going on? Next thing you know, the head of the company phones us up. Phone's a house phone. He's like, yeah, Ron's fired. And then we're like, and then that was it. My lawyer phoned us up and he was like, really sorry, don't know how to break this to you, but the moment your A&R is gone, we have to get you out of the deal. So we just spent 1 year signing this deal, all this money to set up all these like companies in America to sign this American deals all over Radio 1, one in a zillion pop star. My guy's gone, Ron's fired, and nobody else can, in A&R world, you're like his child. So no A&R is going to take you over when you've not even released a song yet. In hindsight, blessing, because I've never released a song with a record label. Great, because other people get trapped. This happens all the time in music. They release a song and then they're tied in and then they can't get out. But because we were literally just signed, it was very easy to get out. Just every part of the advance got spent on getting me out, and we left the deal with nothing. Didn't really matter. Experience, life, great. So that's, at 15, like literally being told over every single newspaper, Elton John, one in a zillion pop star, Christina Aguilera, and then the head of the company being like, we'll make you Katy Perry, but now you have no A&R and I'm not Katy Perry, I'm like Bryson Tiller, I'm like Summer Walker, I'm R&B. It's just not adding up. So like to have all of this while still doing like my national fives, which are GCSEs in Scotland, like it was a lot, but like also like it just, you couldn't go two ways. You could just give up and be like, this is exhausting, or it sets this fire inside you. And for me, it just lit up this fire inside me, and I was like, let's go, bring it on, and then on to the next. If there's a will, there's a way. And I think very early on, I think everybody around me could see if she can handle that at 15, she can handle anything. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh my God, feel sorry for me, my dreams. No, like how lucky was I to even experience that? How lucky was I to, be signed by Capitol and have a team of like 30 people in this room telling me how amazing I am? Okay, it lasted 4 minutes, but it was there, What a thrill at 15. Who has that? So yeah.
Did it teach you what you didn't want?
No, because I think when you see the lights of like, this is what it could be like having 30 people around you, and then suddenly coming back to London, doing Celebs Go Dating, leaving school, putting an album, and then literally making my music videos on my own on Final Cut Pro, like it does make you really want that. Like it makes... Like, I work so hard so that I can one day come back here and be like, yo, I'm Dua Lipa with a team of 150 people. Like, that's everyone's dream, So I don't think it taught me what I didn't want. I think it taught me that I can absolutely handle it, and I can absolutely do it if I don't give up. And also, when that happened to me, suddenly, every other, pop star, I've met loads of them in my time, they tell me their stories. Like, there's not one star in the world that doesn't have a story of, like, being signed by a label, dropped by a label, or... your A&R gets dropped and then you're stuck, Everyone has a tale, and that's what makes you who you are. And my mum always brings it back to this moment. When Elton phoned us, after he asked me to open his concert, he said on the phone, Talia, I want you to know it's going to take you 10 years to really get a crack at it. And at the time I remember thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm 13, like... Bella Thorne is on Disney Channel and she's like 15, like, come on, we can do it now. And lo and behold, it was 10 years this summer, and I feel like only now I'm actually getting a crack at it. So it really is like, these people have come before you for a reason, and that advice was there for a reason, because it's like Elton knew there was going to be 10 years of almost chances, and there was.
He was right.
But look at who I am now as an artist, as a performer, as a singer, as a songwriter, because of this experience at 24. Couldn't have even dreamed of having this much experience. But also, I know that I've got loads more to learn. You know, I don't have it all figured out. So bring it on.
It's adding up though. I'm blown away by your wisdom and your mindset. It's incredible. I believe very deeply that you can't be what you can't see. And there's arguments about that with like Elon Musk's and, you know, Zuckerberg's who have created things that didn't exist and all that sort of thing. But I just found that answer really interesting because I was kind of thinking that maybe you were going to say, yeah, you know, I don't want that, that's why I've gone independent and all this sort of stuff. But actually, no, it opened your eyes to the reality of what's possible.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that complain about their labels, which I do see, I think it's because they've not experienced what it's like to really be on your own. You know, I come from an amazing family. I've got, my parents worked very hard. You know, my mum did housewives in Jersey. I've got a great family, but I'm one of four and my parents are really strict. And they're like, okay, great, you're on your own now. You know, if you can't pay your rent in London, then come back home in Jersey and live with us. We're not paying your rent. We're not, if you go get a real job. That's what my mum and dad say. So it's like, yes, I'm very lucky to come from a fortunate family, but I'm so grateful that my parents were so strict on us. Even my sister, she works in finance. You know, there definitely been some ups and downs. Even at the start of this year, I had to move in with my sister because literally everything was on top of me and I literally couldn't afford my rent. So for me, I'm like, that's the one for me. You know, in September, I just moved into my flat. I can pay my rent now. I'm releasing music again. Like, everything is in order. So I think it's easy for everybody out there who's like, just maybe the version of me in January that just hadn't, everything was just a bit all over the place. But, you know, we have to take the pressure off ourselves. Sometimes life just happened. You can't, you know, you can't manifest everything. You just have to take the journey as it comes, you know? Like, there will be ups and downs. Like, I don't want to glamorize this too much and that it's all a fight and we're going to get there and there will be some bad months. This is a business at the end of the day. The same way, you know, your Elon Musk has bad months, you know? You're going to have bad months too, and that's okay. But don't let that bad month turn into a bad year because of what gets into your head.
You mentioned earlier about being at school and how you were this girl with amazing dreams, and that stuck out in like some way, a bad way, right? Because people were maybe scared or couldn't relate to the dreams that you had. If there was something that you could recommend people who might feel like that, right? That they want something and they're maybe getting hate for that. What advice would you give? And if you want to elaborate on your story as well from in school, that'd be great.
Do you know, this is so bad, I'm not going to lie, we all do it. I scroll to see who views my stories. And I will scroll and I'll catch a name that like totally bullied me and just destroyed my self-confidence as a child. And I see their name and I still get like low-key PTSD. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it all just comes back to me. So I'm not going to glamorize it and say those feelings go away. Like, school is brutal. People are so mean, it's ridiculous. But like, they're not hating on you for no reason. They're hating on you because you've got something they don't have, and they wish they had the courage to stick out and chase the dreams, because it takes courage. It takes courage to get up in the morning and believe in something when no one else believes in you. Courage. So if you are, 14, 15, 16 at school and you have the courage to stand out, to consistently work hard at something, to push yourself to a level, to take that next step, then you're the winner. Of course, these other people are going to be intimidated by the fact that you're fearless in that pursuit. Courage. That's the real person that needs the applaud here. So, you can't let it affect you. But I'm not going to pretend it's easy, because it was awful. I would come home and cry for hours. I would come home every day and sleep after school because I was so exhausted by what went on at school. Like, I would have an nap before dinner. Like, it's funny when I think back, but it's not funny at the time, is it?
Yeah. No, it's rough, and it's funny again. It's people doing it out of fear and their own insecurities, and that's how they project it on to other people. And
people talk bad about you in the hope that the other people don't see you as appealing, because they're intimidated. They see you as a threat. Nobody attacks something that isn't a threat. You're a threat to them because you've got something going for you. So if they spread bad news about you, bad words, bad gossip, whatever, it's so that people aren't seeing that light, that energy, that glamour. Even nowadays, like if you think about dating and like guys and like girls being cool in front of guys and talking bad about you to a guy, well, it's because she knows you've got something going for you and she wants to speak bad about you, so that guy doesn't fancy you. It's like these are traits that you're gonna be glad you learned at school, because they don't go away. Like, that same scenario is going to happen when you're like 29, but it's going to be a girl doing it to like a guy you have a crush on, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's the lesson learned, lesson gained.
Yeah, and what you said is brilliant as well, the consistency. Like, what does it take to be great? Just consistently being good.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's about consistently being right. It's just being consistent. Like, just consistently doing. Because I don't always get it right. I'm not here like, wow, guys, look at me. Like, I get it wrong a lot. But at least I'm consistently doing something.
Yeah.
That's better than doing nothing.
What would you say has been your biggest leap of faith?
Oh, every day. Every day is a leap of faith. I don't think I have one that stands out now because I'm on autopilot and everything's just a blur. But obviously Elton John, like, that changed my life. And that will forever be my story. Everyone has their story.
So that's being seen by Elton John and performing with him, right?
Yes, so I gave my demo tape to his partner, and then complete chance encounter, and then 24 hours later Elton phoned my mobile asking me to open his concert.
Okay, so can you tell, so you gave your demo tape
To David Furnish, yeah.
Right, who you did not know?
No, did not know. Just went up to him at a restaurant. And I know how surreal this story sounds, because I'm telling it and I'm like, this isn't real. Like, this is actually not real. And 24 hours later, Elton phoned my mobile, said he loved my voice and asked me to open his concert in Scotland.
No way, that's mad.
Yeah, so that's a leap of faith. But, you know, every day is a leap of faith. I'm always DMing people, even now. Like, just DMing people, asking them for a break, asking to get in a writing session, asking if I can help. At the start of the year, I was so lucky to be able to get in a writing session with Nile Rodgers, an incredible producer, DJ called Zach Witness, who did the Dua Lipa remixes. Incredible. And I feel like that was a moment that I was like, in Abbey Road Studios, sat there literally singing, coming up, writing, and then I'm singing these melodies and then Niall's playing them on a guitar, like what I've just sung. I'm like, this is like something I've like, a fantasy I've created in my head that's just become real. And it was just like, and the guy from the Kaiser Chiefs was there. Is it Ricky? I really hope it's Ricky. I hope it's Ricky. The main singer. Yeah, I feel like his name's Ricky. And it was just this crazy stream. Like, it's me, Nile Rodgers, Kaiser Chiefs guy, and Zach Witness. And we're all just jamming, writing. And I'm like... And
that came from you sending a DM?
How is this real? So, he asked me to do a TED Talk when I was 14. That went viral. Then I hosted TEDx London twice, and then with the We Are Family Foundation, which Niall runs. I've always just supported them throughout all these years, and then I can't remember how it came about. I think I messaged Niall because I saw he was in London. I messaged him asking if he needed my help, like helping his TikTok. So I went, and for the first week, I was just helping Niall do his TikTok, filming Niall, posting his TikToks, editing his TikToks on my Final Cut Pro. I wasn't getting anything out of that. I was just doing it because I love creating content. I love entertaining, and he's a legend. So from that, I then got to write just because I was giving my time. I was just being myself. So that's a prime example of what you give, you get. I wasn't expecting anything in return. I was doing it because I got to spend time with the greatest of all time. I mean, We Are Family, like the Get Lucky, the hits this man has written. And also spending time with him. I think spending time with greats really makes you appreciate that, like, it is just the pursuit and the consistency. And he said to me this quote, he was like, you know, I was like, well, how do you feel about having so many hits? Like, you've got to probably have like the most amount of Grammys ever. And he was like, you've just got to keep swinging the bat. He said, you've just got to keep swinging the bat and hope one of them lands. And now that's how I see my life. Like, you know, when you're those people that go to batting practice and the ball just keeps coming out and they keep swinging, and sometimes they miss, sometimes they hit. You just keep swinging that bat, and then eventually that ball is going to hit that bat, and then you're flying. You're literally flying. And you're on a home run. I don't know if that's how baseball works, but let's go. I'm home running.
I love that. That's incredible. I actually have a little Babe Ruth, and I've written that quote on.
Really?
I look at it every day, so it's really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. There's also because I interviewed the Pixar writer once.
No way.
He was in The Simpsons. I wrote The Simpsons, and then he was part of the Toy Story team who wrote Toy Story. And I said that Babe Ruth thing, and he was like, yeah, or keep swimming. You know, the Nemo. Yeah, I was like, okay, fine, we'll use that one today. Incredible story. Like, you're so inspiring. What's the most challenging thing about the music industry?
It's a mind game. So many people have their own agenda in terms of they've probably got their own artist they want to break. So a lot of people will just come to you just to steal your ideas, just to steal the strategy, the songs, the concept, what you've got going for you. You know, if you've got a light, people will come to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they want to help you keep it lit. It's sometimes so that they can pour some cold water over it. And I think you just have to be very aware, but also not let it get you down. Like, it's like anything. Like, how many people have you heard about that, you know, do animated movies and then Pixar come along and squash it? It's no different. So I'm not one of these people that's like, oh my God, the music industry is a disaster, don't do it. It's no different whether you're in Wall Street all battling to bring home the right check, you know? It's a business, it's a game, and it's really a survival of the fittest, but so is every big level league business person. So just gotta keep the fight.
What about creativity? We're coming to the end, I promise. I've taken a lot from you. What about creativity? I heard Rick Rubin talking the other day about the differences between Eminem, who just writes all day, all night, and will use like 1% just to keep up the momentum, keep his head in the game, and will only use like 1% in actual songs, versus a Jay-Z who like doesn't write anything down. He'll hear the beat, go in the corner, hum some stuff, and then just go and do a hook, and it sounds amazing. What's your creative process of bringing a song together, like Boyfriend, for example?
So I'm very like voice notes. Like, I just sing to myself all day. If you ever see me walking on the street, which I do a lot, I'm usually just singing to myself, got my voice notes out. But the reality is, see, when I get into the studio, I'm usually inspired by the beat, by the chords, the producers, or one of the songwriters is playing, and then I'll usually just come up with something on the spot. So I did a really exciting collab with someone really cool recently, which I'm so excited about. I'm not going to say who, but like, I'm
English.
Manifesting this. Yes, English.
Okay.
That this is just going to come out early
Stormzy.
next year. No, but it's good. It's really good. It's very good. We literally freestyled the thing. Like, we were with the producer and we'd actually done one song together already. But we were like, nah, the guy had already done a song on the Top Boy soundtrack. So we were like, right, let's actually do some real music here. Like, let's stop chasing like a capital FM hit, and let's just write something from our souls. We're all just totally in on it. The guy was scrolling through like the tracks he'd already made in his computer, just playing as the producer, and then he like plays this really emotional like string thing, and he like skims past it, and I'm like, whoa, back right now. And it sounded like something from like The Power. Remember that TV show, my favorite TV show theme tune? It sounded like something like that. Like, it just sounded so like, it made me feel something. And I think if a song makes you feel something, the job is done. So I literally looked at said rapper and I was like, rah. Me, Scottish, saying rah. I fully said rah. I went rah. And we're like, that's it. And then I was like, okay, cool. So I got on the mic and I just sang this like total freestyle, like this thing. And then I was like, all right, I didn't even realise it. And they all kind of looked at me. Because when we'd done the track before, it was quite like poppy R&B vibes rather than proper emotional ballad. And I'd finished and I didn't think anything of it, right? Because I was just singing like proper like vocals. Everyone looked at me and they were like, you know what you just did? I was like, no, we played it back. And it was just this big like really emotional thing. I don't even know where you would ever play this song because it's just an emotional like theme tune. And then said rapper's like, yeah, go. And then he does his part and it's just so sick. So I feel like because the story and the emotion behind this song is just so like real, freestyled, honest, like passion, and we all felt something. I feel like to me that's more valuable than any like R&B pop song that you can go in and plan and write and perfect, you know? Like Boyfriend, great catchy song. But this song, this makes me feel something, you know? So I think a feeling is priceless. Because at the end of the day, we are all chasing a feeling. You know, you get caught up in the fact that you're chasing money, you're chasing love, you're chasing men, you're chasing whatever your thing is. But you're not chasing money for money, you're chasing money because of the way it'll make you feel. You're chasing a man because of the way he will make you feel. So I think when you come to terms with the fact that you're chasing a feeling and you can feel those things right now, you don't have to wait to be Kylie Jenner to have the feeling. Like, there's only one, like, if you think of it, there's only one 100%, right? So if the max feeling of happiness is 100%, Kylie Jenner's 100% after she's just brought home $1 million is no different from the 100% that you're going to feel when you're feeling your best. There's only one best. Jay-Z doesn't feel a better best than you. Your best is still Jay-Z's best. It's just the best. He might just have more bests, you know? He might have more frequent best 100% because he's got more excuses to feel happy. But if you get your head around the fact that it's a feeling and you can feel that feeling right now, if you just feel the happy thoughts, think the happy thoughts, that's where the manifestation things come from, then you could literally be there right now. You don't even need to chase the thing, you know?
It's powerful.
Because the
100%.
feeling.
That's it.
But is that not crazy? If you actually deep it, you're like, wait, so no, wait a minute. I've just spoken this podcast for an hour and all of this chaos running after this goal is just for a feeling. But we could actually just feel that right now if we get our mind right.
If you allow yourself to.
Right.
So you just come up with that now?
No, I was thinking about it yesterday, but now that I've said it out loud,
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's funny. I
feeling.
had, do you know James Haskell, the rugby player?
Yeah.
I spoke about him with goals, and we kind of arrived at a similar kind of thing. It's like, why set a goal when you could set a feeling?
Yeah.
So I want to feel joy, or I want to feel whatever, right? Love, or whatever. It's like, okay,
crazy.
cool. Because then sometimes the goals don't lead to the feelings that we want.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Talia. I love it. Absolutely love it. Last one before we do the quick fires. Can you talk us through your process of manifesting for people who might never have heard of it, but also for people who want to figure out how you've gone about succeeding and achieving all the things you've done?
So I need to get better at really manifesting, because I feel like I could PR you a story right now on how to manifest, but manifesting only works if you believe it. And the root of manifesting is you have to feel the thing before it's arrived. So kind of what we've just said. Yeah. So if I sat here right now and I went, I feel I've got number one. I have a number one. If you consistently did that, then your energy and your frequency will be raised to that level of having this number one, and then it will attract all these things. That's where The Secret comes from, all these books. It's that exact principle. Feel the feeling, raises your frequency, boom. But I think it's difficult to feel that, do the thing, I've got my number one, great, feel it, and then 3 moments later doubt it, because when you doubt it, it cancels it out. So I think it's very difficult to do manifesting because you subconsciously accidentally cancel it out by 3 minutes later being like, oh, okay, cool, well, I'm gonna make a cup of tea now and I feel rubbish again and I'm got to pay my council tax right now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like constantly just being on that alignment of I'm here. I'm everything is under control. These things are coming. These things have come. They're here, and I am there. So for me, I'm not very great at that. I'm gonna try 100% because I do think maybe that's the missing link. But that is the route. If anyone listening and anyone's able to do that, then you can thank me later. But you just have to feel the thing before the feeling is there.
But you said you need to get better at it. That's an incredible explanation, and maybe that's your intellect explaining it.
Yeah.
But like, what allowed you to manifest the feature with this mysterious rapper that we're going to find out in the new year? Like, for example, did you manifest that, would you say?
No, I didn't manifest it. I'm not going to lie. I think what I did was I manifested my level of where I was at. So I raised my energy, if that makes sense, and that attracted him. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so I think that is a prime example of I subconsciously, because it was around the time of Nile Rodgers, it was around the time of the Brit Awards. I wore this out from the Brit Awards red carpet. I got the tube to the Brits, literally, in this ridiculous outfit. You can Google it. And I was like the third most searched person on the night of the Brits, even including Anne-Marie's Fall. Remember, she fell on the stage, and I'm there and I'm seeing all these artists with their 14 people walking past me, and I'm like, you know what? You gotta hand it to me. I've just tubed it here. I'm rocking on this red carpet, and then we're still getting the job done. So I'm this is not a long-term plan in terms of tubing, winging. I'm sure one day I will get my chariot to the Brits and roll on that red carpet with a team of 30 people, and I can't wait. But it's about confidently being able to just align yourself that you are destined for these great things, and then the great things will come to you.
Yeah, amazing. I'm very inspired. I'm very energized from this chat. I've loved it. So the last 3 questions, we do the same 3 in every episode. I know you listened to the Gabby one.
Yeah,
right?
I loved it.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you've thought about these already or not, but the first one is there anything you've discovered recently or come across that you're particularly excited about?
God, it could be anything.
I've got one you could be excited about. Your new single.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about everything. I'm like the most OTT person there is. So let's think of something unique. I'm excited about this song with this rapper. Like, I've not had a feature in ages.
Can you tell
that
me off
excites
air
me.
who it is?
I'll tell you after this, 100%. I'm excited about that. I've just discovered this new protein toast and I eat it every night.
Protein toast. Nice. Nice.
Joy, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a feeling of joy.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I don't eat much bread at the minute, but that would
Okay,
be good.
no, but I'm not gonna lie, right? So this was my year of like health. So at the start of this year, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, even on the Brit Awards, I was like 73 kg. And I'm now 58. From walking every day, feeling happy, and just like drinking water and like just looking after myself. Because this was all part of my goal. If I want to be at that level, if you want to be Dua Lipa, you got to be on that frequency. So, you know, I've got to be fit and as fit as I can possibly be. Anyway, so back then, I would never eat bread. I would be like, nah, carbs, la la. Whereas like now I'm like, I walk my 25,000 steps. I'll have my rye bread, my anchovies and my rocket, maybe a little tomato for like my lunch. But I've just discovered this protein bread from Whole Foods. When I tell you this bangs, like, oh my God.
What's it called, do you know?
I think it's just called protein.
Protein bread.
Bread.
Nice.
I swear my life. It's in the rye bread section. That excites me so much because, and also who would have thought? I'm now the thinnest I've ever been, and I'm eating bread every day. See what I mean? You just got to find the balance.
The health is easy when you break it down.
Yeah.
It is.
You know?
Like you said, keep moving. I mean, 25,000 steps is a lot, but you keep moving,
Yeah.
drink a lot, stay hydrated, and eat well.
Exactly. And I'm feeling the best I've ever felt.
And you can do 80-20. You can have 20% rubbish if
It's
you
so
want.
true.
One habit you would recommend all listeners to implement into their day?
Walking. I swear, if you can just walk, like, please get up and get out. My walking kind of started in lockdown. I would go on these mad walks every day. I feel like everyone did. And then post-lockdown, when I came back, I started to do, like, all these, like, mad workouts. But this was around the time of me being, like, 70 kg, Brit Awards time. And I discovered that I'm not good with like HIIT training, like high interval training. It just made me eat so much after. So that obviously just doesn't work for me. So this like low intensity movement works for me and it clears my head. I feel so good after it. Like, have you ever come back from a walk and gone, I regret that walk? Ever? In your entire life? No, never. Just get outside and go for a walk. And honestly, and it's crazy because you're not even thinking about it. You can think, you're not doing anything. You know, you can even be on your phone doing your emails. I don't care. Just move.
Yeah.
Just honestly, that's I think more important than anything. You know, if you're having a bad day, just get up out and go walk.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's the best thing that for me about getting a dog.
Yeah.
Other than that she's my therapy dog. But
Yeah, see, I don't even have a dog, but
No, it's
you know,
great.
if I did have a dog, the dog would be walked.
yeah, 25,000 steps. Or, last one. Imagine there's two versions of yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Take yourself back to any moment. There's lots, but maybe a particularly challenging one. What's the difference between the version of yourself who's gone on to achieve all the amazing things that you've done? And I think importantly, be the person who sat in front of me because it really has been a special conversation. I've loved it. So what's the difference between this version here in front of me and the one who wouldn't have done the things, wouldn't have taken action, wouldn't have spoken to Wiz Khalifa, wouldn't have performed with Elton John?
I think it really comes down to the things life throws at you. So something I've not spoken about, when right before I did Celebs Go Dating, my mum actually got diagnosed with breast cancer and I was 18 turning 19 and there was no cancer in the family, no nothing. Like we were just, cancer to me was like you'd hear about like a friend of a friend of a friend's class's mother had cancer. Like that's how like removed it was. And suddenly I remember one night my mum was lying in her bed and she was like, oh, I feel like that's a lump. And I remember her like being worried in her eyes, but like totally like it could just be a lump and not cancer, if that makes sense, like a cyst or something. And then the next day my mum went in to get it checked. Just like that, like fully, yep, breast cancer, cool, you need a mastectomy, 6 months of chemo. Like snap of a finger, our entire family was just turned upside down. I had two younger brothers, they must have been like 7 and 10 at the time, something like that. They're babies. And suddenly they're seeing their mum with a bald head, no eyebrows, and lying on bed after 6 hours of chemo for 6 months. So I think when you see something like that, i.e. you're so well, you're so healthy, and then overnight you can just switch. I think that puts into perspective the pursuit of everything else. So, okay, you want to be a pop star, cool, that's great, dream, all this chaos. Well, at the end of the day, you're healthy, you're happy, be grateful for that. Okay, cool, you're not Beyonce, you're not Jay-Z, you're alive, you're well, you're able to walk 25,000 steps a day. That's a gift. You know, and my mum is now 5 years cancer-free. She's just set up this initiative called Love Your Barbara, and it basically just raises all this money for like loads of set charities. So at the moment it's like the Pink Ribbon Foundation, and she's just like launched this pajama t-shirt for Asda with like her Love Your Barbara. And for us it was all about, we didn't call it cancer, we called it C, like we wouldn't say the word cancer, and she called her new boob Barbara. So like it was just all about changing the narrative, and we got through it. And how lucky of us, you know, she got it early, she got through it, chemo's done, 5 years, great. So I think you can manifest all you want, you can stress all you want about the goal, the plan, the Lamborghini you want, but at the end of the day you don't know what's around the corner. You know, we're not psychic, we really don't know where we're going to be in a year's time. So it's about just kind of grounding yourself enough to be like, okay, maybe I'm not where I want to be, but look how well we are. It's like you don't know what you are until you don't have it. So suddenly when we're all in Jersey, you know, seeing my mum, we didn't even tell anyone at the time when my mum was going through it because we were so scared. And at the time I was like, well, what if we tell people and then people wish her bad? I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, what if people don't want her to be well and fight it the way she did? Even that makes me feel ill, thought of that. But we were just so private about it. Now we can talk about it, you know, because she's 5 years in remission, she's completely fine now. But, you know, she's still got to take tamoxifen, this tablet, for like the rest of her life. So it's like, we're alive, we're healthy, we're well. So when I do get a moment and I see Wiz Khalifa, take the risk. You know what I mean? I know it's as bad as this, but we run over by a bus tomorrow, you know, relative. Take the risk. What are you waiting on? You know, you don't know where you're going to be, so let's just count our blessings right now, because life is difficult. And that nobody would have known that my mum was going through breast cancer at the time, because my mum looked so well. She was actually doing the Jersey Style Awards. She plans it 6 months ahead, and obviously this cancer literally happened overnight. She went in for her first chemo treatment 1 week before this event that she's been planning for 6 months, but she couldn't cancel the event because there's so many sponsors, and they said to her, well, your hair's not actually going to start falling out until the third chemo treatment. So she did the first chemo treatment on the Monday and her event was on the Saturday, and then she did the chemo treatment, came home, she had an allergic reaction to the chemo because the chemo was a cocktail. She was in hospital for 3 days, came back out, and then her skin went like really like orange and like tanned because of the chemo. And at the Style Awards, my mum obviously was starting to look really thin, so everyone is like, wow, have you been on holiday? You look incredible, Tess, you're glowing, because she literally was orange, she had this glow about her, like she'd been in a sunbed, but it was actually just the chemo. Prime example of you have no idea what someone else is battling, going through, because we didn't tell anyone, because we were so frightened. So when you have these moments of real fear, then you realise that going up to Wiz Khalifa is not scary. Do you know what I mean? Like, the fear of seeing your mum, you know, having an allergic reaction to chemo, not speaking to Wiz, you know? We're all human. We've all got feelings, we've all got emotions, and I'm sure Wiz cries sometimes over his own problems. So, empathy, you know? I'm sure he sees the little hustler in him when he was 24, going up to whoever his idol was, you know? You got to trust humanity at some point.
That's incredible. Thank you. That's maybe the most profound thing you've said. So,
right?
Yeah, it is all about our health.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that as well. I appreciate it. And your mum's all good now. She's in
My mum is great. My mum is great.
What a legend. Okay.
Legend, right?
Talia, thanks so much.
Thank
I don't even know where to
you.
start. There's so many takeaways for me. I can't wait to listen back to
I know,
it.
I feel like I've not shut up. I'm sorry.
No, literally, that's what we're here for.
Thank you.
It's amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You have reached your destination.
Hey, it's Mark Whittle. Thanks so much for watching or listening. It's so great to have you a part of the Take Flight movement. Subscribe to the podcast on all platforms, video and audio, to be the first to see new episodes and new conversations with the greatest minds in the world. Follow me at markwhittle_TF on all social platforms, and visit takeflightworld.com to join our growing community of hustlers, performers, and go-getters. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, stay positive, stay motivated, and of course, take flight.
Thank you.